Hey everyone, thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. Today we have Shem. Shem was the very first person to be on the podcast. So I don't know if you want to introduce yourself quickly, Shem, and then we'll jump right into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me again. Always a pleasure to chat. I run the channel RetroBreeze, which you may have seen. Cover a similar thing to Adin, maybe a little bit more wacky stuff sometimes. Need to get back more into that. But yeah, always good to chat. And I think we're pretty much around the same level, right? Like we've been doing it around the same amount of time. We've been pretty much even in subs for the same amount of time.
Neck and neck, yeah. So I let things slide now over the holidays. I really, I even messaged you how I was like sort of struggling mentally to get through this block. And so now I was about, say, 200 subs ahead of you, but now I think there's like 20 subs between us. And I don't know where you are right now, but I'm 12,250 or something. And I think you're around about there as well.
Yeah, somewhere around there, yeah.
So
it feels like just yesterday that we did our 10K.
It's crazy, huh?
Chat.
Yeah,
crazy. It's been so fast from there. So yeah, good stuff. Yep.
Yeah, and I've been chatting to Tech Dweeb quite regularly since the interview with him, and his channel is really taking off. Like he was, while we were all on holiday, he was just going for it. Which is actually, we can never rest because that is the best time to capitalize. That December period, I don't know if you saw, but there's quite a spike in viewership, even affiliate link clicks. It's a really good time to kind of knuckle down and go for it. And that's what he did. And he's jumped past 50,000 now and he's doing really, really well.
It's good. And well-deserved as well because, I mean, he does it in such a special and unique way, and it's really good.
Yeah, he's managed to. I keep saying this, but he's managed to corner a thing where, with us, it's facts, it's information, it's should I buy this or not. With him, I honestly end up clicking on his videos more than anyone else because there's such an entertainment value to it. So, you're clicking on it because you're like, I wonder what he's going to say this time. There's always a sort of a treat in it. Yeah. So he's really done well on that. Definitely. Yeah. There's downsides, obviously, like he mentioned, where he's kind of locked in now, like can't do a face reveal, which I don't think he really cares about. But he's locked into that mode of doing videos, which again, I don't think he really cares about. But he's doing well. Doing very, very well. Yeah. So what's happening? I mean, we chat a lot, so I kind of know most things, but how's it going with the channel?
Yeah, it seems to all be pretty good. I'm currently on like a review rampage. Like I literally have a doc called Review Rampage with a list of everything that I need to review. Now, like that's my priority, which is weird because, obviously I enjoy it. I enjoy doing reviews, but they're really difficult for me. And I also punish myself for reviews very heavily. So like if I make a mistake or I do something, or a commenter tells me that something's incorrect, like it's so punishing. So that's kind of funny. But that's been, I've been really trying to execute efficiently and as efficiently as possible. And the thing is, I cannot review a device on day one. I cannot do it. I practically refuse to do it, right? And so, a lot of the time, maybe I'll do like an unboxing or an impressions day one, and then I get really busy and I really want to play it anyway. So then I get the device out, and then that idea is out the window. So it's tough to keep up on board, but also I have got projects that I want to share so badly that I just don't have time for right now. So that's basically, and tutorials as well. I have like a 35-minute tutorial that is so incredibly niche that nobody's going to care. But it's like a baby of mine, and I desperately want to get it uploaded.
No one's going to watch it.
Weeks, like a year. and just for me, I desperately want to get it uploaded. But, I'm right now, like, I think we were talking before about, receiving review units and stuff like that. And I've definitely way overloaded myself on that regard.
Okay.
So I'm going to kind of get through all of that as quickly as I can. And while still, of course, putting out valuable, me, value in my content is the most important thing for me. So.
Yeah. That's like the point of contact for, I think, both of us. Like the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro was the first device in a long time where I got it and I made a video. I talked about it. I'd also been thinking about it a lot while it was in the post. But that's one of the few devices where I actually managed to get that out, where I unboxed it and I was super excited, and then I talked about it. And then I watched it and I was like, okay, this definitely adds value. I've got a good opinion. Let's put this out there. But for instance, the RG35XXH, wonderful name. And I was like, cool, let me get into this. I'm just going to do an unboxing. I'm super excited about this device. I know a few things about it. Let me talk about the custom firmware that's on the way. And I just couldn't release it. I was just like, I have to play this thing. The firmware on it isn't good enough. Let me show people how to improve it, the whole thing. So, I definitely suffer from that as well.
Yeah. It's really interesting, though, in regards to the 35XXH, because I got this like 2 months ago or something, or a month and a half ago. And it was like very much, okay, put it in the pile. I'll get to it later. And then, I got through a couple of reviews and I was like, okay, this is next. I'll try to do a review of this. And I freaking loved it so much that this is one of the easiest devices to review I've ever had, even though my review ended up being, I think, 25 minutes, which is pretty long.
It is.
And, I went into a lot of detail, but I just loved it so much. And, it has a lot of problems, although the stock software is not one of them, Adin. And, but it's just interesting how that happens, But I also reviewed the Anbernic 405M recently. And I found it really fascinating. I found it really fascinating because had I unboxed this and started playing it before I did that review, I think my review of the 405M would have been substantially different. Because this just like killed the 405M for me, which is really not that I don't like that handheld. I really, really do. But if I was given a choice to buy 405M or this, like this wins every day, and it's not because of the price. Wow. So really interesting stuff. Yeah, really interesting.
That is interesting. Yeah, I hear your comments on the firmware. I think because that's what I've been wrestling with this week, is because I'm big on like, these people, the people following me need to fuss? Because I get a lot of comments going, like for instance, the Gamma OS video, I had quite a few comments going, did I really need to install this? It feels worse now. And that's not necessarily true, but for them it's true. Like they installed Gamma OS, they were like, this is less convenient for me. Why did you tell me to do this? So it definitely plagues me. And so I have been this week thinking about that, like playing the RG35XXH and going, okay, the general consensus is the firmware sucks, but I'm playing it and I'm enjoying it. I may not like the way it looks, but it's functioning really well. So, thanks for calling me out on that.
no worries. Gamma is such an interesting one on the 405M. And I said to you in a message a while ago that I was going to say that the stock software was on a certain device was like complete garbage, or like I was being really critical. And that was for the 405M, because I found that stock software to be totally like, and the 405V as well, total trash. Like I literally turned it on and I could not stand it because of that over sharpening thing. And so I actually delayed my 405M review for a really long time because I just didn't get around to installing Gamma, and I wanted to do the review with Gamma. And that's such a huge, substantial improvement. But then when I got the 35XXH out, the first thing I did was install Garlic 2.0 Alpha. And I was just like, this. I appreciate what Garlic is, but it's just not really there for me yet.
It's not.
And then I just threw the stock SD card in. And then I was just playing, and I was like, wait, like what's the problem here? Like, why did I install this custom firmware just for the sake of it? And this is why in my review of this, I go really into detail about the stock software and why I think it's okay right now. It's not perfect by any means. There's a lot of problems.
Okay.
But, it happens like that, and I think a normal person might pick up the 405M, normal person, and be totally fine.
We are not normal, let me just say.
Software. Yeah, exactly. They might be completely fine with the stock software and never notice anything. But for me, that over sharpening issue was an absolute deal breaker. Like absolute.
Yes.
If Gamma didn't exist, I would never recommend that handheld to anyone. But, to other people, they probably don't care very much. So, I always got to try and, here's the thing. I always try and be brutally honest to my feelings in my videos. Because in the end, if I'm not putting across what I truly feel, there's no point me putting out a video. And there's no point anybody watching me over anybody else. Not that my opinion matters more than anybody else, but that's kind of what I'm bringing to the table.
You got to bring your flavor for sure.
Yeah, so I find it really, really important to focus on the little things that I find and the little details I like or I don't like and stuff like that. And I think the RG35XXH it's a lovely handheld. It really is. Like it really is really lovely.
Yeah.
The analog sticks are terrible though, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, on that device, I think it's fun. It's for me, like I'm a big fan of companies not reinventing the wheels. So for me, I did the unboxing, so I've done that, and I'd had these with it. So the 351P and then the 350M, and my two like favorite devices of this like whole niche of so far. Like I still love them, and all they did was take those two devices and make them perfect. Yeah, and that's why I feel like on the 350M, what's it? Adin Image came along and just made a really nice looking firmware. It might not be as functional as the stock firmware, but I wish I could get a pretty looking firmware. Because the Android stock is okay. Like for instance, like to support your point of it not being too bad is I did a video about the Garlic OS for the 35XX. RG35XX, yes. And those are the videos of mine that did really well. And I was like, put Garlic on. It's amazing. It's really cool. And I like kind of gave updates of Garlic as it was progressing. And then someone said to me, I put Garlic on, but there's no search feature. And I was like, oh, that's actually true. It might look nicer and it might feel nicer and better performance maybe. But, there's certain features that are actually more important to people than performance because we tend to get hung up on one thing and then forget about the others. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's such a great point. The search feature on the H is really good. Like it's surprisingly good. And I go into a bit of detail on my review, but like in the search menu, you get two results for each game, right? So if you've got Sonic 1, you'll get Sonic 1 twice because the first entry in the list is standalone emulator. Second one is RetroArch. And there's an indicator at the top of the screen that tells you which one you have selected. And like just little details like that. So I was like, I don't want to play Sonic 1 in the standalone. I want to play it in the RetroArch. And it easily lets me see that. And it's these little details. Because I found out of the box the stock software to just be pretty nice. Because, I went to Garlic immediately and then I was kind of And then I went back to stock and I was like, well, actually now with that perspective, I'm discovering things I really like about this. So good stuff though. Good little handheld. I honestly, I really love it. I think this will be in my collection for perpetually. I really, really do enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, it's definitely because people are making is the 351P acceptable in 2023. People were making videos like that last year, and I think the 35XXH just replaces those old devices. It's just the perfection of that sort of heritage from Anbinix. So I'm really glad they did that, and I feel like that is their sweet spot, making devices like that.
Yeah. The 351P, is that the one with the 3:2 aspect ratio?
Yes, the Game Boy Advance. I think this is dead, but it's got the Game Boy Advance aspect ratio.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's missing. Then that's the only thing that I would say. If they did this with a 3:2, I would buy it as well because I have the old Powkiddy RGB10 Pro, which was like my first retro handheld.
Yes,
and it's a clone of the 351P, and the Game Boy Advanced experience is just so amazing on that handheld.
That's really,
and I really haven't gotten that again. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, and also these older ones have got a really nice D-pad on them for retro gaming.
Yeah.
So if someone's watching this and they do find this on like AliExpress or something, it's still really worth buying.
There's one in a local used game shop, like in my city, and I keep seeing it. Like, do I want to buy that? And I'm like, I do. It's like I think like £90, which is just absurd. Like
Oh, that is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, they all.
So you don't have one, because it's worth having in your collection.
No,
but it's so old now, so I don't know if it's worth it.
Yeah. Well, this is fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So how did you do much video content through the December period?
I did not, and there's the reason for that is actually we found out that my wife and I are going to have a baby. So
oh wow, that I did not know. Congrats!
Yeah,
man.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, so that kind of took over the holiday period. If you know anything about pregnancy, it's not very nice at the beginning. So yeah,
yes.
I was a little slow over the holidays for
Congrats.
sure. And now I'm desperately trying to get as much content out as I can before we move to hopefully a nicer place. So
okay, yeah, because then you when as soon as you're having a kid, you're like, oh, do we live in the right place? Is this place dangerous? Is it big enough? You start asking all these questions.
Yeah, we've had we love where we live here in York. We're right in the middle of the city, more or less. The only problem is our flat is made of paper and the noise travels like crazy. And we've had so many, there have been entire years that we've lived here that have been a living heck because of the noise from upstairs, and we just don't want to do that. We don't want to have to worry about that with a child around. So we'll hopefully move somewhere downstairs and maybe to a house with a garden. That'd be really nice. Yeah,
because you could get lucky and have a quiet baby. Like our daughter was very quiet. She slept through the night from 5 months old. It was crazy. I remember telling parents that, and they could just see the hatred in their eyes. But then our son was a screamer. Our neighbors came to our doorstep and they were like, is everything okay? Almost I think they thought I was beating my child or something, because he was just a screamer. So you just never know where you're going to end up with your child, So that probably is a good idea to me. But congrats, that's amazing, man. That's really amazing. Yeah, because the question on my script was work-life balance, and definitely that brings all of that into question. Yes, because the whole sort of synchronicity of your life is going to change now. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm very lucky, in terms of work-life balance, because I work from home. I have done for 10 years now. Before it was cool. And I also have a pretty flexible job where my hours aren't set or anything. I typically will go out in the middle of the day just for a couple hours and relax and then come back and work the evening. And, it's pretty good. I mean, it's almost impossible to have any time to do anything. It's good that I enjoy producing videos because it's my hobby now. And so I spend all of my free time doing it. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that goes. And also, if I wasn't in my current situation in terms of work, I might struggle a lot more to put out content. Right now, I'm on about one video a week, which is good, but it does give me anxiety that I am not doing enough videos, especially when Tech Dweeb is putting out a video every 2 days. But damn it, man. Yeah, I've been watching a few of the episodes from the podcast just to kind of get a feel for what was in season 1 and what I should do in season 2. And I've got an interview with Russ coming up, so I watched his interview, and then I just clicked on a section today where he's like, "Yeah, I have a goal of doing 3 videos a week," and I just sat at my desk like, I hate myself.
Yeah. It's the YouTube Studio app on my phone. I open it and the first thing you see is the last video you uploaded, and then the analytics, and it will say first 5 days and whatever hours, 6 days, 7 days, 8 days, 9 days. And I'm like, no, that's too long. I need another video.
Why
Exactly.
Oh man.
Yeah. I'm trying.
Yeah. When you are sort of delayed, it suddenly starts to feel like YouTube is nagging you and upset with you because of all the statistics come to you, and it feels like it's literally coming at you like, why are you not working? What is wrong with you?
Yeah. And in my opinion,
kind of is set up that way.
Yeah. I was going to say exactly. In my observation, which is totally non-factual, just what I've noticed, is the longer you wait, the less the next video performs, which might be a human nature thing, or it might be an algorithm thing, or it might be... so I really need, I really try and do 1 a week at least. If I could, I would do 2. I don't know if I would be desperate to do more than 2 a week, because I think that's a nice balance, and then you get a day off. Imagine. But yeah, I think one a week is fine. If I could, I would do 2. But yeah, we're here right now. But sometimes, you get that. You either get like a device that's really easy. Like I have a new GameSir controller that I'm currently embargoed on, which is stupid because you can buy it on AliExpress. But anyway, I got it, and like I used it for a couple of days, and I was like, cool, I know everything I need to know. Review done. Like it was like a day with recording, audio, editing, and sometimes you just get those. And when that happens, it's really nice to just throw another one out, surprise everybody. And then other times you get something like this tablet that you see playing right here. Yes. I am like 2 months late with my supplier on that, on a review, because I told myself I would do it a certain way, and I just haven't had the time to do it.
Okay.
But that's next, and that should be actually a pretty entertaining video, so you should check it out.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I definitely will.
Yeah, there's a section in my 35XX review where if you're eagle-eyed, you might notice the lighting completely changes in one of the clips. And it's because as I finished the edit, I realized I had forgotten to do that clip. So I was like, I'm not setting everything up. I'm not getting my lights out. I'm just going to sit next to the window and do this in like a second.
Screw it.
And, sometimes it's like that.
So it's a Retroid Pocket 4 Pro setup video, and I was excited because no one had released one yet. And then I think Joey did one, and then Russ did one, and then Rob did one from Retro Tech Dad. So I was like, oh, crap. And then I spoke to Rob, and he said, just do it, because everyone has a piece of the puzzle to put together. So I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Absolutely.
But then I saw Russ was doing like a screen recording on the Android device. And I was like, I don't feel like that's engaging enough. I like to tell a story with my videos. So I'm going to do the top down. And now I'm like, I really should have done what Russ did. Because now I see the method in his madness,
Yeah, in some of my old, like my really old stuff, like the, I think the Morrowind thing for the Retroid Pocket 2 Plus and the N-Gage tutorial, I did I got like a picture of the device and then superimposed the screen recording on top. And the thing is, like, it looks good, but then in my head, I'm like, but then you can't see my fingers pressing the buttons. So maybe somebody won't know exactly where I'm tapping, even though there's an indicator. Maybe it would be better to see my hand on the screen. And I'm like, but then I need to actually go record it. And then I'm like, but then I lose the quality of the screen, and the screen's a little harder to see. Yeah, it's definitely a toss-up for sure. It can be, I think, again, in the end, we just have to lean into what we have. And, I think Rob is right. Everybody has a piece of the puzzle in terms of tutorials and reviews and everything, and, some people will look for something specific and find it in your video and be very happy. And, that's good. Yeah. That's what we're here for. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think we have to just find something that makes us different and lean into that. Because I have found, like last year, I just made the decision to not care that I was getting devices late, because that used to stress me out quite a bit. Because I noticed a few of my videos that I made of devices that people already had. Like I did a video of the Miu Mini Plus, very short, for like one of those videos that kind of just happened and went out, and it was a good video. And did really well, even though there were multiple videos on the device. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think I gave a slightly different opinion or whatever it was, and it did well. So I've made a decision just to make peace with it. I'm not one of the top guys. I get my devices late, and it's fun,
Yeah, it's the same with me. Like one of the biggest stressors for me was it's just feeling like I've missed the boat. But the reality is, I don't think there's ever been a device I've reviewed late that has, where the video hasn't performed. And it's also not just about that. People will always be looking for the Miu Mini Plus, always, forever, for the rest of time. Like that's going to be one of the biggest devices.
That's true.
Same with the 35XX line. In fact, I feel like that is more important to cover than something really niche, or not even niche, something really mainstream that's not really cheap, for example.
Yeah, like I would rather do RG35XX than the PlayStation Portal. Like I would do that first,
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bad example.
I've had my Odin 2 for, I don't even know, like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, something like that. I don't know. I got one of the first ones that went out. And, I was desperate to get that video out, and I haven't even started it. I know what it's going to be. I know my video is going to be a bit different, I know I certainly have some complaints that other people don't have. I also have some pros that I don't think a lot of people have thought about. And, I've got the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, which I probably will cover sooner rather than later because I have a lot to say about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But, I can either get really stressed and rush, or I can just take my time and do what needs to be done. And it's another thing, like, I don't know if you know the trigger issue on the...
Yeah, I don't know what the issue is, but I know that it's specifically the right trigger. I've also got mine here.
Yeah.
And that there's something wrong with it.
Supposedly it's not specifically the right trigger, but it's just the one you use more. But the spring in here is weak and it snaps. But mine is clearly getting to that point because it's one of the first devices.
Mine
and,
too. I wonder.
If I had been really fast, I would probably have missed it. And that is something I do not want to miss, in my review. And it's stuff also like, spending a long time with the device to make sure I know exactly what I'm talking about is really important to me. So, and again, the Pocket 4 is a device that has shown me that more than any other, because I don't know if you remember, you might not have even seen, but the thing is, the first thing I did with the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro was put a bunch of PS2 games on it. And the first 5 I tried didn't run well at all. And I was
I don't know if we were chatting about it or what, but yes, I know that you went through that,
Yeah, and I was just like, wow, I'm really disappointed with the performance on this handheld. It's nowhere near what I thought it would be, nowhere near the hype levels. But then the more I went in, I started to realize, well, actually, it's kind of just those 5, and everything else is actually really good. But my first impression, I just chose the wrong games. Woe is me for liking stupid niche games that run badly. But, it's just really interesting, and then also, without getting too spoilery, there is a huge problem with the 4 Pro that I cannot stand about it. And I actually didn't notice it at first.
Hey, man, you're stressing me out because now I'm like, what is it?
Yeah, you got to find it. You got to find it. Try and find it. But there's a huge issue with it that I need to go into a lot of detail on, and I might not have noticed it had I not have spent, all this time with it. So, I would rather do that and then get. I would rather do that than get the video out quicker. Like that. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I'm grateful that. I mean, this sounds like sour grapes because I'm going I'm grateful that I haven't been able to get the device first and make a video first, because obviously you will get more views and all that kind of thing. But I'm grateful that I've had time at it. So I've done the tutorial. And then I'm going to do my review.
Yes.
And there's little things yesterday I took the device with me. Now it's the Retroid Pocket, and
that grip is hideous. The grip is hideous.
I don't mind the grip, but
I know.
These things pop off, and I had it in my hand in the parking lot. I was showing a friend, and I lost it in the parking lot. I had to walk. I found it, fortunately, but I was oh, crap, now how am I going to finish my review without that cap? Anyway.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
So little things like that I would never have noticed, They're nice,
Yeah, they're...
Okay, so that's not the problem.
There's going to be a 15-minute section of my review about these sticks. I just know it. They are so freaking good.
Just have some sexy music and you going like this,
Well, this whole thing is the worst part of making a video. It's so embarrassing when I'm watching the footage. Okay, this is 20 seconds long now. 25. I need to change this clip a bit.
This is getting embarrassing.
Yeah.
But we got to remind ourselves that when I did my 351p video, I was I need a top-down screen. I was very happy with this device. I loved it. And now that I look at these analog sticks, they've got less range of motion than the RG35XXH. So,
Yeah. And, I was looking at my Retroid Pocket 2 Plus the other day. And I'm stunned that thing not only doesn't have clicking L3 and R3, but the right stick is the slider.
Yeah.
Utterly bizarre. But, I loved that. I absolutely loved it. So, it's all proportionate, I think. And, I didn't complain. I mentioned the stick issues with the 35XXH. And, I do think they make a few games unplayable. Okay. It's not the physicality, it's how they've been coded in. or dialed in.
I see.
But,
Okay, yes, yeah, I haven't looked into that.
At the same time, it hasn't really affected my use with this particular device because it's mostly a retro gaming device. So I'm like,
yeah,
it's okay. Sonic Adventure 2 caused me some problems because of the sticks, but other than that, it's not a huge deal. But if I were to get, like, I don't know, the Odin 2 and have the same stick issue, it would be a deal breaker for sure.
Of course.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Yeah.
So let's segue. Was going to be my last thing, but let's segue into this. But you said you haven't really gotten yourself clued up on this yet. But one of the biggest comment threads on my channel right now is it's the whole debate. It's the Retroid Pocket 4, the RG3556, the new Anbernic, the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, and then the Odin 2. And I'm going to get out some, I don't know if I can, should I do a screen recording? I don't know. I'm just going to find my post on YouTube because I asked people what they want to know about that. But do you have any opinions on that yet?
I do.
They're
all terrible. No, I'm just kidding. So here's my totally non-rehearsed reply to that.
The thing is, written down on a script. Yes.
Yeah, my overall opinion here is that if you like the size of the screen and you have the money, you should buy the Odin 2. That to me is flat out like, I know that's very kind of opinionated, but you won't be disappointed with the Odin 2. Like, you just won't. It is such a level higher than everything else on the market. And we're not going to talk about Steam Deck and x86. We're just talking about, like, Android ARM handhelds.
Yes.
It's so much higher, and the performance is so much better, and the quality of life features are so much better. There's no competition. So if you can't get the Odin 2, you then have the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, the Retroid Pocket 4, and the 556. But the thing is is that the 556 doesn't compete with any of these. And the reason I think that is because when AYN releases a device, right, it's like once a year, it's a big deal, right? The Odin, the Loki, and then the Odin 2. Retroid is more frequent, because last year we had the 3, the 3 Plus, and the Flip. So again, that's quite an event when one of these comes out. It's very, there's a lot of expectations. The expectations are really high. We trust this company more or less to do the right thing.
Yes.
And, that itself is, there's an expectation there. The 556 is just Wednesday for Anbernic. It's just their next device. The only reason that we have, I think, quite a lot of hype, and I'm not criticizing the device. I think it looks great. I can't wait to get mine. Like, seriously. I love the weird stuff. And that's definitely the weird stuff. But, this is just Anbernic's next device. There'll be another one next month. There'll be another one the month after that. There'll be another one. There'll probably be another Win 701 or whatever it is. There'll probably be maybe another rendition of the 4 or 5M kind of concept. So I don't necessarily think that these three devices, the Retroid, the Anbernic, and the AYN, are really competing. I think more it's people's expectations that are kind of competing. And for me personally, the 556 is definitely like third place, simply because of that fact that, it's just another Anbernic. It's probably going to be great because most Anbernic devices are pretty good.
Yeah.
But then the Retroid is really special. There's probably, I'm guessing we'll see a Flip in a similar concept, although maybe not, because I hear the Flip was a failure commercially.
I see.
I wouldn't expect anything particularly major from Retroid this year after this. Like, this is, this is really the big thing, I think. Yeah. And, same with AYN. I wouldn't expect another Android handheld from AYN until the end of next year. Just, that's my expectation. And so I really do feel like it's more about what these devices can do and people's perception of that. And I don't think the 556 will come anywhere close to like the 4 Pro or the Odin 2. I think it's all going to more come down to the ergonomics on the screen for that particular device.
Yes. Yeah, they definitely targeted at different people. So, but what's interesting is people seem to be getting into slight arguments online about it. So someone will be like, yeah, but the Anbernic does this. So how can that even, compared to the Retro is just rubbish. And then, and they are very different because the one has a big screen, the one has a small screen. People, I know people love OLED, and especially gamers love OLED. I have an OLED on my laptop right now, and I absolutely love it. But
yeah,
I just don't think it's as big a deal as everyone makes. Like when I see something released as OLED, I put it right down, like at the bottom of the list of priorities to compare it to something else. I don't know how you feel about that.
I freaking love OLED, and you can inject it into my veins. Like, I'm so excited.
Gamer, a true gamer. There he is.
But I wouldn't make my decision on that point. Or I probably wouldn't. Maybe I would, actually.
Yeah.
But this also brings me back to the Odin argument, because actually, you don't have an Odin 2, right? No. But I would say that I remember the AYN team saying that they've tuned the screen to be as close to OLED performance as it could be. And I think they did a darn good job with that. It is really, really good. And the colors and the blacks are really noticeably amazing. They're not OLED level, of course. Yes. On the other hand, I think the Retroid Pocket 4, I think the screen is probably its worst feature. So, it's kind of like, I'm not sure if the OLED on the 556 will beat the Odin 2, or I don't think it will be a huge deal against the Odin 2. I do think it will be a big deal against the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. So, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I'm really excited. I've really wanted to get an OLED handheld for a long time. I've never had one, so I'm so excited for the 556.
Yeah.
But my expectations are in check. I don't think it's going to be great for GameCube or PS2, as good as people seem to have the perception it will be, especially since the 4 Pro, like I said, it gave me issues on day one with that. So, I think really, I'm not particularly overly excited for the Anbernic, simply because it's just another Anbernic.
Just another day with Anbernic, yeah.
Yeah, but I bought the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro myself day one, even though I said I would never buy another Retroid device. And it's simply because I was so excited about the spec list and the price. Yeah. So yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to quickly go through the comments and let's see which ones we can answer. So this guy said, if the F556 comes out with better, always get people who say, if the device comes out, it's already out. But anyway, if the 556 comes out with better controls and build materials, I would be sold. Mm-hmm. I know what he's saying though, because I do, from what I don't have it, but from what I've seen, those sticks, like I really think they should have upped their game with the sticks, and the plastic looks pretty crappy. What's your opinion?
Yes. So actually, this is something that I feel very heavily about now, which is that these Nintendo Switch sticks on a premium, powerful device are done for me. I will always there's also like the new Neo Pocket S coming out. It is unfathomable to me that they've gone with Switch analog sticks when these exist. Like, they're so much better. The sticks are something I would stake my purchase on. And I do think with how big and chunky and weird the 556 is, I don't know why they went with those. Yeah. And I've got another. Let me grab this real quick. Sorry, I'm unzipping.
Right, yeah.
I've got this beauty, the Loki, right? AYN Loki.
Oof, nice.
Which these are full. If you look, they're full controller style analog sticks. Yeah. These are underrated. Like, people don't realize just how much of a better experience it is, especially after a couple of hours of gaming, when you have an analog stick like this. Like, they are absolutely amazing. And, the analog sticks to me on the 556 are really disappointing. I wouldn't buy the Neo because of it. I think that really, as you get up to more modern-ish gaming, you need serious controls. And so 556, I am really excited. I think it's just skirting the line of being kind of a fun, casual device and this kind of GameCube and PS2 level. So I'm kind of okay with it. And the OLED is a bonus and whatnot. But yeah, the sticks to me, these are they're insanely good. Like, they really are. So
I think the problem is the fact that those sticks are out there now, and the fact that people were going to immediately compare the Anbernic to Retroid. They should have gone with better sticks anyway. All right, so what do you say? Is the Retroid 2S the best device? Oh no, that's got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No.
Okay, so this guy's talking about the x86 chips and all that kind of thing, and this is my point. He says, depends on what you want. Retroid Pockets are well pocketable. They look nice, however. They look nice, have power, but aren't very comfortable, have a small screen, and seem to come with a lot of manufacturing. Well, there's one manufacturing issue. If you're going to slap a grip on your RP most of the time. Shem hates it. I like it. Maybe go for the RG556 with its better screen. But it says, or the Odin 2, if you're rich, go for an x86. But I want to quickly just vent or rant here is it depends what you already own. Like if you're into gaming already, like for instance, if you're looking for a one and done device, the Odin 2 might be for you, except if you're starting to get into Steam games, then you're going to immediately go, oh, I spent all this money on the Odin 2, but I actually want a Steam Deck. So where are you heading with your sort of gaming life? So for me, I have a Steam Deck. Hopefully, DHL hasn't picked it up yet, but hopefully I have a Steam Deck on the way. So for me, like personally, obviously I'll eventually get an Odin 2 for the channel and make videos or what have you. But personally, for my sort of gaming evolution, the Steam Deck is great. But once I have the Steam Deck, the partner device to that, what's it going to be? And for me, the Retroid makes more sense because it's a more pocketable, fun little device that's pretty powerful and can stream and all those kind of things. So it can do a little bit of what the Steam Deck can do, but it's smaller and more fun. So in that ecosystem, the 556 might not actually make sense, or maybe it will. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, no. I totally agree. And, I think the commenter makes a great point. I mean, one of my big complaints about the Retroid Pocket 4 is that it's not comfortable to hold at all. In fact, I find it really uncomfortable. And actually, when you compare these two, they're not that much different in terms of, how they're made, how they look and all that. They're both blocky, they're both flat. This is actually more angular, but it's still more comfortable. There's something about it that's more comfortable. And the 4 Pro, I don't think it's comfortable at all, actually. And, the other day, I was actually sat in a cafe for like 2 hours and just playing on my Retroid Pocket 4. And I was like, I'm having a lot of fun, but I never shook the sense that this is not a comfortable device to hold.
Yeah.
And I don't think... Okay, I get that a grip is a cool accessory and that it enhances your device. So I think that's good. Do I think it's good to design a device that actually needs a grip? No, I think that's a flaw, a failure in design. So, but then on the other hand, I'm like, well, did you design it this way to make it more pocketable? In that case, I'm like, well, okay, then that's kind of a different thing.
Enough. Yeah.
But I thought on the Retroid Pocket 3 and on this that they could have added something here. Just a little bump.
Because there's already a bulge.
Something for your fingers to just wrap around, like right here. That's all you need. Doesn't need to be big.
Yeah.
And I think that would improve it.
Interesting.
So I do think it's a good point. I think the manufacturing issues are really bad on the 4 Pro, both in, or rather the issues out of the box with, the triggers are definitely a problem. And the software issues are horrendous, I think. Like I said, there's one big thing, and it's related software to both issues. Hardware and software. So I don't know. I think it's a good point. You've always got to balance what's good for you and what's not. I think the Odin is the end game device if you want to play emulation and Android games. With stuff like Cassia coming out soon, hopefully, we might even see Proton and Steam compatibility with it. And it's going to be like... I
don't know that.
The Odin... Yeah, we'll talk about that. The Odin 2 is good for years. Like, this thing is not going to be outdated for years. It's far ahead of emulator development, right, in terms of software. So it's good. If you have a Steam Deck, well, you can't argue that you can't do everything the Odin can, especially if you're on, if you stay on Linux like you absolutely should, then you can use like Android subsystems and you can use, emulation and you can dual boot and stuff like that. It's very flexible. But also the Steam Deck is absolutely massive. So, I don't know. I think... It does depend on what you have. And, I think this idea of having like a big chunky Steam Deck and a cute little retro handheld is great. I love it. I think it's so nice.
Yeah.
Would I go with the Retroid Pocket 4 for that companion? Definitely not.
Well, as you said that, I thought to myself, I have a feeling because the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is right now my everything device. Like I'm even streaming on it. I'm busy streaming The Walking Dead and I reached the critical issue is that the screen is just too small for that. But I think once the Steam Deck arrives, I'm going to switch over to something like the RG35XXH because that's just a nice thing to switch between this massive device and then this tiny little, then it plays all my fun little games that I'm not playing on the Steam Deck. So it does definitely depend what your little ecosystem is. I wanted to make one more point about this is I think Anbernic and Retroid have a problem with these newer devices. And like you said, the Anbernic is right on the fence of still being a fun little device because of, and I think the thing is the power that they've put in these devices. I think if Anbernic, the RG556 had any more power, I think a lot of the issues with it would be deal breakers because like they need better sticks in a device of that caliber. Like if they had the D1100, I would be like, it's absolutely unacceptable that they have switch sticks in this device. And on the Retroid side, with that amount of power, like I like the fact that I have a pocketable, powerful device, but I think it's just too powerful for a pocketable device. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel like the Retroid Pocket 4 should have been this. The Retroid Pocket the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro should have been a bigger, more comfortable device.
Yeah, I think that's a good.
That's my sort of hot take on that.
And it is strange having a really small device that also like has a fan and blows out warm air and plays all this stuff. Like it's just strange, you know. I'm not complaining, but it is an odd thing.
Yeah, I'm glad it exists. And I'm loving it. Sure. I'm just being a critical reviewer. I do love the device, and I think they've done an exceptional job with it. But that's just my sort of hot take.
People for everything I've said, I love it too.
Yeah. After we've just said that it's absolute crap, we love the device.
Yeah. the disclaimer though is that I've been playing almost exclusively Sid Meier's Pirates on PSP on my Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Nearly nothing else. I think I have like 12 hours in that game now.
What game is that? Sorry, I missed it.
It's Sid Meier's Pirates, just an old school, simple pirate RPG. It's the PSP version.
You've got all this power.
Which is probably the worst version of the game. But I mean, I was like just in this cafe, just pirating for like 2 hours, and I honestly couldn't have been happier, except that's not very comfortable.
But that's the joy of this hobby, isn't it? Like finding that weird little game that nobody cared about in 1989, and you just love it. You know?
Yeah, that's my entire game taste summed up.
I'm busy playing Vector Man 2, Sega Genesis.
Brilliant! You got to get that on your Arc, your Anbernic Arc.
Anbernic Arc. Yes. So the Anbernic Arc is sitting there. I haven't made a proper video with the blue one because I've got the Linux one and I've got the Android one. The blue looks good, eh?
Yep,
I want to just put a crap load of Genesis games in here and just make it my Genesis device because I'm actually missing it. It's a lovely device. Anyway,
here's your challenge, Adin. This is what I did on my RGB 10 Pro, right? The Game Boy with the Game Boy Advance screen. I set up my emulation station menu to only show Game Boy Advance games. And so when I turn the device on, it jumps immediately into a Game Boy Advance game list. And I I chose like a theme that worked really well for that. So you should try and do that on your Arc with Sega Genesis. That would be really cool. Or sorry, Mega Drive. Why the heck did I say Genesis?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to do the next video about it was supposed to be a whole kind of like this device as my only device. If this was my only device, how would I use it? And kind of just set it up that way. Because that's what I want to do. I want to set it up as my personal device and then maybe sell the Android one.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I have the Android one. And I find the Android experience to just be not good at all. And I kind of, I didn't buy it myself, of course. Well, not of course. I just didn't. I got sent it. But I kind of wish I had asked for the non-Android one. Because I just don't use the Android side. But it's fine. It's still a cool device, so I like it a lot. That's on the review rampage list for sure.
Cool. Yeah. All right. Let's finish off with your favorite device right now and your favorite game right now, which I think you've already answered, but let's hear it.
Well, there's a lot going on my desk here that I want to talk about.
Really? Okay. Well, take us through it.
My favorite retro handheld. The thing is, it's hard because I have to switch gears a lot. But I will say I've been very surprised by the 35XXH. I thought I would get this out and be like, and then put it away and maybe sell it after my review. No, I've loved it. And I've been playing Abe's Exodus on this game, is it's on PS1. How to describe it? It's from the Oddworld series, and it's dark and kind of gory and depressing. It's great. You'd love it. But yeah, so I've been playing that on this, and it's perfectly suited to the little screen. So that's definitely one of them. But this isn't what I've been playing most at home, and this is why I said to you privately that I had a great one to show. And if you've been watching my channel for a while, you might know what I'm going to say. But it's not necessarily
a sneak peek as you hopped on the call.
Oh, yeah, you did. You're right.
Because I know it's going to be weird. I know that.
Yeah, it is. So my main device that I have been using over the last month is this right here. And this is the...
I love it. It's just so perfectly...
Yeah. So this is the iPlay AldoCube iPlay 50 Mini Pro tablet. Yes. And it's connected to the Red Magic Shadow Blade 2, which is basically the Game Gear G8, just in black. And I've modded it to fit the tablet. It's got a 3D printed shim on it to make sure it's all secure. I've put metal analog sticks on it.
It's like the nerdiest thing,
yeah, and ever. It's freaking great. So this is streaming Moonlight.
That is amazing.
And the thing is, Sony announced the PlayStation Portal.
Yes.
And I laughed at them, and I thought that is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And then I made this, and I genuinely have played this more than anything else recently. And
so you're using it for streaming?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So I've mostly been playing recently Genshin Impact, which is a game I do not like at all. But I have a device, I have a controller to review, and it's a special edition of a certain character from Genshin Impact. And I didn't want to do the video without having that character unlocked. And that game is all about just grinding stupid tasks. Yeah, so basically I've just been streaming Genshin from my PC to this because Genshin on Android doesn't have controller support. But yeah, with this, you get a full gamepad layout, a full console quality controller. Yeah. It feels pretty great. The screen's pretty great. The tablet itself cost me like $120 shipped. And taxes, which is amazing. And yeah, I just freaking love it. Like it kind of started off as a joke, and now I swear by this form factor. Like, you've got the PlayStation Portal. You've also got the 1X Player X1, which is just launched on Indiegogo or whatever, and it's kind of like this. Right, and yeah, I think it's such a good form factor. I absolutely love it. The only thing I want to do is I want to get the Lenovo Legion Go tablet, because it's the same size as this one, but it's like a Snapdragon Gen 2, I think. So it's like really like almost Odin 2 levels of power. Yes. Which would be amazing. But yeah, this right now is my most played device. And it's so cool. Weird, but it's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah. I wouldn't take it out of my house, and I wouldn't be seen dead with it outside. But, for sitting on the couch and playing a game instead of being sat at my PC, I think it's absolutely brilliant. So, it's beautiful. Definitely, we can say what we want about PlayStation, but their design is excellent, like their product design. And the PlayStation Portal was it looked weird at first, but now what you're saying, I mean, it's a great form factor for the home. Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's so comfortable to hold. It's so... because I'm just streaming, the battery life on the tablet lasts freaking forever. Yeah. It even has like a headphone jack and a charger port, so you can charge it. The only real issue with this setup right now is because the tablet speakers are absolute trash, because it's kind of a budget tablet. But that's okay. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it. Like if you want to learn how to do this with a G8 or this controller, I've got the video on my channel too, actually, on how to do this. Okay. And I love it. Like I think it's silly, but I really love it. I really do. And GameSir's new controller actually fits tablets natively, which is a really interesting development. So yeah, cool. Shem, it's silly, but we love it. Yeah, exactly. And then other than that, I play my Odin 2 pretty often, because you just can't beat it in terms of general experience. It's just so good. Yeah, emulation mostly? On Odin 2, yeah. Yeah, I've been playing Wii more than anything on Odin. So on Odin, I've been playing GoldenEye, the Wii version, which is just a phenomenal first-person shooter. I've been playing Sonic and the Black Knight, which is probably the most underrated game ever. And I've been playing Lord of the Rings Aragon's Quest, which is also just absolutely excellent.
Yeah.
And actually, one of the tutorials I have coming up is how to set up actual proper motion controls on the Odin 2 and other handhelds.
Oh, cool.
So if you're playing a Wii game that needs like motion, you can actually do that in Dolphin Emulator, but most people just map it to like the right stick or something. But I was playing New Super Mario Brothers, and in that game, there's like certain platforms that you jump on, and then you would rotate the analog stick and rotate the Wii remote, and the Wii remote would rotate the platform.
Yes. Yeah.
But you can actually set that up perfectly on the Odin too. So you play with the controls, and then you land on the platform, and you turn the Odin, and it's really fun. And it works on like any Android device. Yeah. Yes, that was something I really wanted to do because you can get some pretty cool Wii games that you might not play otherwise to run like that.
Yeah, Wii just needs a little bit of love because it's harder to map the buttons and stuff, and I think people just give up. So I think we need to, as reviewers, kind of do a few guides on that because, I think there's some really, really nice games that are just not being played.
Yeah, I think I've actually been thinking about this a lot recently, but I think the Wii has one of the best game catalogs, period. Like there are so many incredible and really creative games.
Yeah.
But obviously it's kind of hard to translate that into regular gamepad controls. And it's also sometimes a shame as well. Like I said, I've been playing GoldenEye, and GoldenEye had classic controller support on Wii. So you can just map it to a regular gamepad and it's fine.
Yeah.
But on the Wii, you could also aim using the Wii remote by pointing it. So you got nunchuck, Wii remote, and you're pointing. And it is so much of a better experience with that setup. Like the game works so much better. You have more accuracy. It's kind of more fun. It's more engaging. But I definitely think that the Wii could do with a bit more love on, retro handhelds in general. And the cool thing is with the Odin
on my radar.
Yeah, the Odin has the Odin dock, which is awesome, by the way. And with the Odin dock, you can actually plug in a Wii sensor bar and connect to your Wii remotes, and you can actually play Wii games properly. So a big part of my Odin 2 coverage is going to be the docked experience because it's seriously unbelievable. Yeah.
So what you're saying is I need to go find a Wii remote.
Yeah, I've got 4. And you'll have to pry them from my cold dead hands.
Yeah. I tried to buy a Wii over lockdown because the whole family thought that would be amazing, but we just couldn't find one. I think all the secondhand Wiis got bought up over lockdown. Yeah, they just pre-lockdown, they were everywhere on Facebook Marketplace, and then they just disappeared.
Yeah, they're like $35 here, like secondhand. It's so good.
Yeah, they're pretty cheap here as well.
And all the games are like £1 or $2 to buy. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, it was very successful. So I have mentioned in a few of my podcasts how I think that a lot of the devices for instance, Game Boy Advance, I don't even remember seeing that in South Africa because of sanctions and stuff in South Africa. But the Wii was actually one of the Nintendo consoles that was like really successful here. There's just games in every secondhand shop. Like that's not going up in price anytime soon.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Like I'm trying to find a Game Boy Color. I got the what's it, the FGBC, that build your own Game Boy Color kits that you get from Funny Playing.
Yeah, the FPGA.
Yeah. So I want to make a video on that, and I'm trying to get some Game Boy Color games, and they're so expensive. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they are. We have a local like retro game shop, and if you want anything that has any kind of like name attached to it, like any game that you recognize as expensive, and then they just have like bargain bucket of all the FIFAs and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. No, I've got this one retro game shop on WhatsApp, and I message him, hey, do you guys have any Game Boy Color? And he sends me a photo, and it's like Fred Goes to the Zoo. It's like some random game.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Shem. Thanks so much for being with us. Thanks everyone for watching. Please, we mentioned a bunch of his videos in the podcast. I'll put it in the show notes, so go check out his videos. There's a bunch of cool videos, especially the one on you can build your own streaming device. So go check that out. And thanks again. It's great having you on the show.
Yep. Thanks for having me.